Now, every time Jesus said this, the disciples actually saw what he was referring to. When he said, upon this rock, they saw the rock. When he said, destroy this temple, there was a temple they were looking at. I don't know if you get the point. Every time he took them to where what he will say, they will see it physical. But it is a pointer to what he is saying that is unseen. I bet if you understand. That was Jesus' style of teaching. That was Jesus' mode of communication. Just like when he said, whosoever shall say to this mountain. Mark 11:23. He is referring to the mountain where the temple was built. He is saying the temple is going to come down and he will build another temple. So when he said, upon this rock, where they stood and where he was making that conversation was called the gates of hell in that day. They were actually standing at a spot there that was naturally called the gates of hell. The gates of hell, the word hell there, is like a refuse place where when you burn all the trash, you pack all the trash, you take it to the gates of hell so that it is burnt off. So he was speaking about the gates of hell, making them know that the gates of hell cannot prevail against his resurrection. Are you following? So he was speaking about the gates of hell, pointing to an unseen gate of hell that will try to stop him from resurrecting from the dead. Now, because the gates of hell there was the place of the dead, the gates of Hades. Because one of the names of that emperor of their day was called the place of the dead. The place of the dead. So Jesus is making a confrontation. He said, look upon this rock. I will build my church. That is, I will confront the devil and the powers of darkness and the gates of hell. I will confront the devil and the powers of darkness and the gates of hell. King James and the English Bible says, it shall not prevail. That's not the way it is in the original Greek. The original Greek say, it shall not resist. The gates of hell shall not resist my resurrection. That's why in Acts it says, seeing that hell could not keep him, because it cannot resist his resurrection, because he has mentioned in 4 chapters earlier that no one goes into the house of a strong man except he binds the strong man first. Then he can go in and plunder his goods. So Jesus will go into the powers of darkness and he will triumph over the powers of darkness. And because of that triumph, I will build my church. So the church is the church triumphant. The church is not trying to win. The church came out of victory. Is the church triumphant? We are not fighting the devil. He's too small for us. We have triumphed over Hades. We have triumphed over the powers of darkness. We have triumphed over Satan and his cohorts. So we are not trying to win. We are not fighting to win. We have won. We are only speaking because the devil is ignorant until he is educated. So we are speaking from a place of victory. We are not struggling with the devil. We are only reminding him where he belongs. The gates of Hades. The church triumphant. Say, we are the church triumphant. Say it very loud. Say it like you are triumphant. This is, I will build my church from confronting the powers of darkness. I will build my church from confronting and defeating and engaging the powers of darkness. That's why when he rose from the dead, he said, behold, I give you power. You shall take up serpents and scorpions over all the power. Why? He has defeated them. The proof that the kingdom of darkness is defeated is that the church is born. The church wouldn't have been born if Jesus did not defeat the kingdom of darkness. The birth of the church is the announcement of the triumph. You remember that song? The church was born. You know the song. You look at the way they coined the lyrics. The church came out of resurrection. So the church begins from triumph. The church is not subject to darkness. The church is over, above darkness. The church is in the light. The church is in the light. And when I'm talking about the church, I'm not talking about a building. I'm talking about a people that are washed, a people that are sanctified, a people that have embraced the revelation knowledge of the fact that Jesus lives on your inside. That church triumphant is here tonight. That church triumphant is here. Somebody shout, we're the church triumphant. Say, we have triumphed. So the church was going to be born by the confrontation of the powers of darkness and stripping them of their power and rule. Jesus confronted them and stripped them